Where's the book? Oy. Don't even know how to start this. So about a week ago, I finished a book, and now this book was one of my most anticipated releases of the year. They always are. And before I go any further, I'm going to put my teacup down. I adore this author with such undiluted passion. I've read all of her books, some of them more than 3 times, and they're just happy. That author is Jill Mansell, and the book was Meet Me at Beachcomber Bay. Now, I picked this up a week early. Anyway, my scruples aren't what we're talking about, and I just wanted to do a review. Why do people ever use teacups? Because my tea is basically gone. The general premise of this book, the story focuses on our character called Clemency. Similar to her other books, it follows 3 points of view. It's Clem, Belle and Kate. Clem is like our focal character and the other 2 pop in throughout the story, and it's wonderful. The way Jill Mansell writes her books are entwined, and you're suddenly wrapped up and suddenly you've read a whole book and you haven't even realised you've started. But I just wanted to talk about a few of the themes, because I'm not going to talk about the plot because I can't really talk about the plot without spoiling anything. But each character finds herself, and this book touches on a lot of things like adoption, which, finding your parents when you're a grown-up and you've been adopted, which I think was really interesting because I've never even really thought about it. To me, when it's done in books and films, like I watch, people are younger, and this was quite interesting because he was a bit older and he really didn't want to hurt his mum. It was the way that was dealt with, and I thought that was really interesting. There was also sexuality. I don't believe it's been touched on in any chick lit I've read, where sexuality has been such a strong contender. It's the reason why relationships change. And although in this book it was really convenient, the sexuality aspect, for everybody involved, it was dealt with really well, and I think her emotions, the character's emotions, were really real, with that fear of coming out and how your family will react. And the character wanted to keep this version of herself that she worked on and was really proud of. And I just think it was handled really well, and it felt quite real, how it all happened, the diversity of the characters, the emotions the characters feel, I believe, and I became really invested in all of the happiness. And although some of the characters got on my nerves, I think it was a really interesting read, and it had a lot of characters, including one who I hated, and you're meant to hate. He's so bad he feels like a character from a Shakespeare play. He's that 2D, but although the character, the bad guy, the antagonist, was so 2D, I still believed him and I still hated him, and even though, it felt like he was just a bad guy, it didn't bother me. There's also the relationship between other characters and how they react to things. Clem gets herself in a situation with Rowan which completely influences the town where they live. It's a very small, close-knit community, and they gossip. And of course, it's gossip. I live in a small town, and everybody knows everything about everybody. I go to the local pub, and people know things I didn't know. I used to work in this local pub, and I had a tummy bug, and I had to go home sick. I was a chambermaid. This was early in the morning. I had a bit of a tummy bug. I couldn't stop vomiting. It was awful, and I was concerned if I kept working, that A, some of the staff might get it, B, if I vomited in the rooms, it decoms the room, C, I didn't want to be there. I felt crap. The next night, Dad and I went into the pub. People were looking at me, and somebody pulled my dad to the side and said, "Have you heard about Grace?" I'm Grace. And my dad was like, "What?" And he was like, "She's pregnant. Congratulations." And I was like, "What?" I was 17 at this point. And the rumour had gone round. It started from the chambermaids who had told somebody that I had been sick. Somebody then took that I'd been sick in the morning. Someone took that I had morning sickness. So eventually, by the time it reached my dad, I was pregnant. Which I wasn't. I never have been. That's how rumours start in these little towns. And everybody knows everybody. Everybody is, like, a lot of people having relationships with other people in this town, which is exactly what happens in this book. And it leads to this hilarious scene involving Rowan, another character, and a poetry reading, which was one of my favourite scenes to read because it was so genuinely funny. And although it was awkward and although it was horrible, you can't help laughing because we've all been there. We've all been that ex that just doesn't want to let go. I've never written poetry, but it was so good, and props to her because I was laughing so hard. My mum tapped on the bathroom door to ask if I was okay. And finally, I just want to touch on the men in this novel because there was Rowan and Sam were my two favourites, and every time she writes a new novel, she manages to write a man who's completely different to the last man in looks, in personality, and each time I fall a little bit in love with him. And I don't mean to, but by the time that I'm sort of thinking, they're perfect. And you read it from 3 points of view. In this case, one of the people, the protagonist, ended up with a woman, and actually she was just as gorgeous. And you sort of get to the point when you're reading these relationships, they're so believable, and you've been reading them, you've been putting yourself in the character's shoes, so you find yourself has been in love with the protagonists and with the love interest and with the community they live, because it's not just, to me, the sort of 6 protagonists or 3 protagonists and their love interest, not the 6 characters that make these books great. It's all the characters surrounding them, the little offcuts, the storylines, and how all of those go together to create a really interesting, diverse story which you fall in love with over and over again. And I will reread them. I won't reread this for a couple of years probably, but the first one I read was Rumour Has It, and that was my favourite by a country mile, and I love it. And it makes me cry every single time, and every single time I have a bit of a happy cry at these books. Jill Mansell is probably my favourite chick lit contemporary author of all time, and she'll be one of my top 3 favourite authors of all time. A lot of people have read reviews that are predictable and stuff, and I think I mentioned this, I've touched on this before, but chick lit is meant to be predictable, and this is as unpredictable as it can be. So you go from A to B and you know what B is going to be as soon as you really pick up the book. I got it a bit wrong this time, but I always do. But what makes them really magical to me is that from starting from A, it goes, and you don't know, you know how it's going to end, but you don't know how they're going to get there and how the other characters are going to respond. And it's just wonderful. And if you're looking for something light, I always say I'm going to save them for holiday, and I never do. But if you're looking for something light to brush away the coldness of January, this is perfect. Like calories, I haven't met a Jill Mansell book I don't like. Chick lit is white wine. Jill Mansell is a large glass of Pinot Grigio with far too much ice in. It's completely my weakness. This book I obviously gave 5 out of 5 stars. I can't fault it. Hyped but perfect. There we go. And to an author who has never once disappointed me. So thank you all for watching my review. I fully recommend Jill Mansell's book, obviously, and I will speak to you all very soon. Bye.